All right. So we've got some drama in the open source crowdfunding community. And I guess we have to talk about it now. All right, here we go. So this is Soul Circuit's channel. Soul Circuit is the creator of this project. This project that quite a few people have backed. How many backers do we have here? How's the campaign doing? Nearly 3,000 people. 3,000 people. And the start of this is like 289 Canadian dollars. So your mileage may vary, but not exactly cheap, right? And they have additional ones that are more expensive. They had modules like adding in modems. But I guess we need to start at the beginning. What happened here, right? So it was last updated April 11th, 2026. It is currently April 13th. So it's not dead. It's not dead. What is this thing, right? Looks like a computer. Let's see what they have to say. So, okay, it's not only a handheld computer, but it's going to be an open source product. A lot of the things that this team learns from making this thing are going to be things that you're going to be able to use and other teams are going to be able to use to make their own version of like portable computers, or some people call them cyberdecks. And they have two versions. They have a 5 and a 7, right? One's clearly more aimed at being a tablet. The other one is more of your traditional handheld computer device, kind of like a PDA, closer to the, I think it's Clockwork that has one, the U console. But okay, these things have been around for a while, but certainly not at $200, right? That's what it says at the start. But we can already see that, you know, kind of easily can get inflated, but we'll get into that, right? So here we see that they have a unit, right? Right out of the gate, they have like a prototype. And it looks pretty good, right? Looks like the screen is screening. Looks like the keyboard's there for something. And I think in the footage they have stuff rolling, do they not? They have games running on software. The impression is that this is very much like ready to go. Look, they even have some schematics right here talking about a flat hierarchy for a motherboard. So it doesn't seem like they're, doesn't seem like they're starting from nothing. And the estimated delivery is July 2025. That's the very first thing you're going to see when you start looking at stuff. Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but July 2025 is quite a ways away. It's almost a year away. But all right, okay. We'll get to the stretch. We'll find out what the updates say. We'll find out how everything shook out. So they're talking about how it's going to be based on the Raspberry Pi 5. And you have photos of it too, right there. So you can see what it is. Long battery life, open source. This is going to be open source hardware and software. You're going to have all the files. You're going to be able to make this thing any way you want. Don't like it how it comes? Tweak it. Sure. Simple, practical design, modular, right? Okay. Here's the hackability. We've got aspects like being able to add cameras, sensors, actuators, We are also working on modules like LTE and NVMe. So then explaining the difference between the 5 and the 7, talking about trackball, talking about the keyboard, talking about game buttons, talking about what that scroll wheel is for. It's right on the front. And here we can see a sentence that you should probably keep in mind. The NVMe module, which is nearly complete, and the LTE module, which is currently in progress. Now, all of this is the first impressions that we're getting. The impression is that this device functions, but it just needs a little more polish. If we could just get a little more polish. They even have a photo of this module. More Pilet 7 stuff. You can see that they've taken, if you're familiar with CyberDecks, it's okay if you're not. But this keyboard layout looks very similar to an off-the-shelf keyboard mouse combo, the Re Mini. But you don't need to redesign it. Those things are readily available, and hey, whatever, right? I mean, I'm not interested in the 7 model, but it might be pretty good for someone who's into that sort of life. Here we can see them demoing a thing. You can see that they apparently have animations playing. Now, you could argue that this is just a VLC file for demo purposes. But I don't think that that's the impression that most people are going to come away with. I think they're going to come away with the idea that touchscreen's already working, mousepad's already working, and this software that they're running is something that exists. In the video, they had this, but they have it here as a screenshot. Roller Coaster Tycoon, or Open Tycoon, the open source version. So the impression that they're giving is that this can run. This thing is portable, and it can run Roller Coaster Tycoon. Now, for those who don't know, Roller Coaster Tycoon is a very light game. One of the most accessible games too, because it's such a low-level programming language, but it's literally assembly, I'm pretty sure. But nevertheless, I mean, it computes, does it not? It works. Here's some stuff about the battery module. Here's some stuff talking about the open source design philosophy. Talking about schematics that are going to be released. Talking about the PCB. They're going to not only share Gerber files, I don't know what that is, but they're going to also share full source PCB designs in KiCad. KiCad? Who cares? CAD and step files so you can 3D print all your cases. The software. The source code will be released when the first units of Pilet are shipped. It will initially be available to testers and later to the general public. All right, so that's an important note. They say that the source code is going to be released when the units are shipped. Oh, and that testers will get it first. It's important to remember all of this stuff when you're going and looking at it, because you're going to see how the priorities kind of shift from the updates. They're talking about once stuff is published on GitHub, they want contribution by the community. Talking about how they want the assemble kit to have no soldering required. Perfect for STEM education. Now, personally, I'm not using this for STEM education, but I think I'm down for not having to use a soldering iron for a product I pay money for. Some things are projects, other things are tools. So, the supported SBC, Raspberry Pi 5, all variants are supported. Okay, Raspberry Pi 5. Talking about the power source, talking about the screen. Now, they already have the resolution here and that it's touchscreen. So, and we saw footage of the demo previously running. So, I mean, the screen should be figured out, right? Talking about I/O, talking about the networking. Obviously, remember, they did say that the NVMe and the LTE were in progress. So Nothing's being promised right now. Talking about dual stereo speakers, a built-in microphone. And then here's the operating system. It's going to run Linux. Global shipping. So shipping fees will be charged separately after the campaign ends and when the product is ready to go. The cost will depend on your location, how many units you order, and a few other factors. Things like import duties, VAT, and taxes. Reasonable, right? Product is done. Time to charge for shipping. Sounds good. Kickstarter backers are going to get the NVMe module free. That's pretty cool. And if you get two, you get two as well. Now, I don't know. Are they selling the individual NVMe? Regardless, keep in mind that that means that they're expecting and that there already are probably people who backed to get two of these computers. And so they're expecting not only this computer, but two free NVMe modules. The Raspberry Pi 5 board is not included in this kit. You can use the Raspberry Pi 5 you have already already purchased, or you can buy it separately. So already they're kind of saying like, well, I mean, if you have a Raspberry Pi 5, might be a good idea. Talking about how the base currency is CAD. This last point, I'm gonna vent a little bit about, even though it's kind of silly, but we'll get around to it. We'll tackle it in chronological order. All Pilet units are sold in beige. And then there's an update. Now that we've reached our stretch goal, we'll offer color selection in a post-campaign survey to all our backers. Okay, so initially it was only gonna be one color. They hit their goal, so okay. Risk and challenge. While we planned our timeline meticulously, delays are always a possibility in hardware projects. We're collaborating with trusted suppliers and have set realistic lead times, but unforeseen issues may still arise. Additionally, global events and other unpredictable factors could cause delays out of our control. Keep this paragraph really in mind. What are they actually saying here? They're saying they've planned their timeline, delays are a possibility, but that they already are collaborating with trusted suppliers and have realistic times. Remember, right now, that delivery date was July of last year. It is April of the following year. We're a year off, despite this note. But that's okay. So, all right. Going back over to the YouTube channel, you can see all these videos, all of them are a year ago. So that was the Star Trek demo. This is showing off music creation. So they have a keyboard running. They have a keyboard, animations, audio is working. I'm just not playing it right now. All right, pretty snappy. And then we have another advertisement. I think this is just kind of the Kickstarter project. And keep in mind, this person was Soul Circuit, the main manufacturer of this thing, was going on like subreddits and stuff and making posts about how their project was launching. They were engaging with the community. And then we have our stretch goals update. So let's listen to what the stretch goals update says.
Chris here. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thanks to all of you, the pilot was fully funded in the first 5 minutes. James and I are so grateful for your incredible support and kind messages. Now for some exciting news. We have 2 stretch goals lined up for you if we hit 1 million Canadian. We're working on a Kickstarter exclusive clear case for the Pilet 5 and 7. We've always wanted to create a transparent case, and I'm so excited that we finally have the chance to make it a reality. We will also develop a unified keyboard and gamepad module. That's right, we're combining the two into one. This way you'll be able to type and game seamlessly on the same module. So please, Spread the word and tell everyone you know about the campaign before it ends. And you'll get to choose your color in a post-campaign survey we conduct when we wrap. Thanks again for your incredible support. Bye.
All right, well, guy seems kind of friendly. Guy seems kind of chill. And I mean, everything kind of makes sense. Now, you might be saying custom clear case. That seems a little crazy to dedicate to a, stretch goal. But I disagree. My reasoning for this is that if anyone has interacted with 3D printing, getting transparency or transparent true cases can be a little bit annoying. It's a matter of certain temperatures, oftentimes printing in enclosures. You have to print a very specific way to keep the amount of cross layers down. It can be kind of tricky. So I don't really think that it's that crazy to go like that's a stretch goal. And obviously stretch goals are meant to incentivize people to just, hit them. They don't have to be anything special. But okay, so where we're at now is that roughly 1.3 million Canadian dollars from 3,000 backers pledged. This project was an overwhelming success. I don't remember exactly what its goal was. I mean, the initial stretch goal, I think he said was it 100,000, a million? But okay. Here we have the FAQ. Batteries included. No. Why is the base price slightly different from $199? $199 USD is converted from CAD and may vary slightly. So, okay. They're advertising $199 USD, but everything is being used in CAD. Is the Pilet compatible with the new 16 gigabyte variant of the Pi 5? Yes, it's fully compatible. Now keep in mind, this last updated date, January 10th, 2025. This is going to be really important for this latest update. Can you access the header? Yes. Does it come with the SSD? We include the NVMe module for free. You can add an SSD to your pledge or source it separately. So, okay. What type of display? IPS panel, vibrant colors, wide viewing angles, and good brightness levels. So this was last updated February 14th of last year. And this question indicates that the screen is not a problem. It's an IPS panel. It's got vibrant colors. It's good brightness. Keep all this in mind. So let's start with the updates. Right now we're at update 20. So we're going to start all the way at the beginning. So, the project launches January 8th, 2025. The very first update is talking about input controller progress. We can see a PCB. We can see what kind of stuff it has. And they're working on a custom designed trackball. All right. Okay. Very first update. Project's just launched. I think it launched in 8th. So within a week, within roughly 1 week, we have a PCB advertised. The second update is, again, another week, the 22nd of January. It's that video we watched before, plus a comment that says, we're almost there, 90% of the way to hitting our stretch goals. The Kickstarter exclusive transparent cases and some solid color options for the 5 and 7 are coming down the pipeline, as is the unified keyboard gamepad module for the 7. These goals are on the verge of becoming a reality, Once the campaign wraps up, we'll send out a post-campaign survey. We love hearing your ideas and suggestions. Please don't hesitate to drop us a message or leave a comment. Together we can build a truly amazing product. Update number 3, 7 days later on the dot, the 29th. So launch is 8th, then the 14th for the first update, then the 22nd, and then the 29th. So what's this 29th one say? Stretch goals confirmed, plus the LTE module update. Well, as we read, LTE module was very early, so this is good news. They're working on it. Stretch goals are officially happening. We're working on the gamepad keyboard module, along with the clear and colored cases. The LTE module design is complete and has been sent off for manufacturing and testing. Next up, we're working on the software to enable phone calls and internet access. So, the LTE module is done. It's actually being manufactured and it's being tested. Not only that, they have to work on software. Okay. It connects to a separate PCB that includes a 3.5mm audio jack, speakers, and a mic, fully compatible with the 5 and the 7. Would you rather make a phone call straight from the terminal with a command or go with a graphical interface? Let us know. So, they don't know which direction they want to go with the software, but all the hard stuff about the LTE, that's done. So if that comes back, let's be a little worried. February 7th, the project's funded successfully. 2,436 backers pledged over $1 million. Actually, it's $1,100,000. The next update is February 13th. So 2 weeks go by from the 29th. This is about the NVE module. 30-day campaign has officially ended. We're beyond grateful. Late pledges are still open. So right now, even right now, you can still give money to this project and try to get like one of these, I'm pretty sure. Some of them are sold out, but others aren't, I believe. We've received many questions about surveys. Don't worry, they'll be sent out closer to the shipping date. They'll be sent out closer to the shipping date. They will cover the shipping addresses, the case options, and the keyboard and module add-ons. Closer to the shipping date. This is really important. Keep that in your brain. February 13th, roughly 2 weeks after launch, they're saying the survey for questions about cases will come close to shipping. Okay, more stuff about the MVME module. It's now in manufacturing and testing. So let's go back to that previous one. Make sure that there's nothing really conflicting here. So first it was the LTE module is complete and has been sent off for manufacturing and testing. And then the next one is the NVMe module is in manufacturing and testing. Supports some SSDs, doesn't have a capacity limit, compatible with an AI accelerator. Considering a knurled thumb screw instead of a traditional screw for securing the SSD. This would increase thickness, but that's not a big deal. If you guys think it's not a big deal, let us know. All right. Moving forward. Update 5, the audio module. So this one's on the 26th. So roughly 13 days after the previous one. Working hard to wrap up all the electronics. Let you know that the audio module is done. We got a chip. We got a codec chip. Here's a photo. Here's some screenshots of some schematics. We're picking the PCB color and would love your input. What color do you want it to be? All right, okay. Sounds like it's going good. Got the LTE done, got the NVMe done, got the audio module done. It's going great. March 12th. So this is roughly like 15 days, like half a month for this update. This week, we're sharing some additional safety features we've added to the battery module. So they're just working on figuring out ways that you could connect the batteries in series instead of parallel without frying stuff. If you could reverse the polarity without damaging the circuitry. So they've integrated an eFuse. So this update is just, well, if you insert your batteries wrong or the power's wrong, it's not going to fry your product. All right, reasonable. Maybe a bit scarce for 2 weeks of a delay, but that's okay. March 29th. So again, 15 days. New beta pledge manager coming soon. The team at Kickstarter has selected us to take part in their new beta pledge manager program. You'll be able to select your add-ons and change all your stuff and your backing, and that's going to be cool. And backers can split their pledge into 4 equal payments. Well, that's cool. But let's move forward. April 13th. So now it's another 2 weeks since that last update. Talking about cooling. A lot of questions about the cooling. We had to figure out an aluminum chassis. We want a device that's essentially mostly passively cooled, but sometimes it can use a fan. Bunch of stuff about fan and noise. Tested 20 different fans so far and picked one that is extremely quiet. Okay. Tell us about your favorite colors for the chassis, heatsink, and fan blades. Cool. Update 9, the 27th. An additional 2 weeks, creating a fully sourced open source display for Pilet. This is where the cracks start to show. We are on update 9, and this was the first one where people started to take issues with Pilet's direction. See, as we mentioned before, and was mentioned during the FAQ sequence, the display is already kind of figured out. So why are we doing this? One of the main challenges in the Pilet project has been finding a truly open source hardware display solution with open source firmware. Now granted, this project is supposed to be open source and the hardware is supposed to be open source, but I don't think that anyone was going to really get mad about not reinventing the wheel for this. But okay, let's keep going. There are no off-the-shelf options that offer both, so we decided to build our own. That seems ambitious. Developing a complete open source display, especially one with a touch interface, is a major challenge. It requires designing a PCB, designing a converter, creating a complete custom FPC, integrating a touch controller, writing firmware to ensure everything works. The display we're building for Pilet would be the first fully open source end-to-end DSi display solution for an SBC. SBC stands for single board computer, by the way. Now, I think that this is a huge misstep, but we can look at the comments. It's a good decision. High-level engineering. I'm excited at the fact that they're able to do this because this is a lot of work. And you can see that Soul Circuit is actively responding to comments. People are posting their rough timelines for development. saying that it's a year away. We've been working on this display for the past 5 months and are now in the final stages of development. And I guess this guy used an LLM to get his projections, so Soul Circuit's a little pissy at him. And then we've got some users kind of shitting on this guy for thinking that this is overambitious. Now I become afraid for the success of the project. This was not known before, and you really guess that this FOSS development will be successful within 2 months? I prefer that a closed source screen with good qualities, as I am afraid the open source display could result in a showstopper. Very astute, Fraggle. But don't worry, they've got it, right? Been working on this display for the last 5 months and are about 90% done. So keep that in mind. A year ago, they're saying, well, the display, we've been working on it and it's almost done. So you just relax, buddy. You just relax. Is this going to affect your milestones? Of course not. Absolutely not. And so, yeah, you know, some people kind of questioning things, but for the most part, everyone's kind of like, well, if you think you can hit it, sure, go for broke. All right, next update, May 9th. So roughly 12 days after that. The keyboard colors and pledge manager rollout. Just launched the beta version of our Kickstarter pledge manager. This lets you add the modules you missed. There were a few unexpected technical issues at launch. Direct contact with the Kickstarter team to resolve major issues. Shipping rates are shown in Canadian dollars. Some of you may notice higher costs depending on how many items and add-ons are in your pledge. That being said, few issues are being worked on. So it's mostly just issues with people not being able to add the stuff that they want to their pledge. Talking about the keyboard and gamepad design. Showing off a radically different design. One that is not in the original footage, and so a lot has gone into that. We're confirming the color options for the outer cases of the 5 and 7 and the finalized keyboard module. Based on community feedback, here are the available choices. So, no poll, no external communication to decide what these main colors are. Just community feedback, whatever that means. This was the second time that I got a little bit chapped about this, because in my mind's eye, I kind of had this idea of, like, you know, a cyberpunk yellow unit. And it was even something that I had discussed about with them on Twitter. But, you know, it's okay, right? I wasn't a part of that community feedback, I guess. And if there was a poll selecting from the full gamut of colors, I guess I didn't get the memo. So what options do we have? Beige, black, blue, gray, and green. Now, obviously, I don't need to say that beige and gray seem kind of redundant, but whatever. And also, beige was, you know, always there from the start. But okay. No mention of the transparent case, by the way, here. But all right. People saying that these are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. How long do we have to make our choices and pay the additional charges? Which LTE module is included in the add-on? LTE module is our own design. Again, kind of saying that the LTE module is done. Still eagerly waiting for the update with the transparent case color preview. Many things to do. Still working on this. I see. So, transparency was harder to figure out. Let's see. Guy here is saying that the price of $449 CAD that was pledged to receive a 5 with batteries and LTE module is no longer correct. Slight correction, I don't think that they ever said that it was going to come with batteries. But nevertheless, it's not fun hearing that your price has gotten a, 25% hike. If you pledge in the early dates, yes, this is the price. The added cost is shipping and tax. Didn't realize the cost was going to balloon. How do I go about getting my pledge refunded? Or not? So, initial reply from Soul Circuit, no second reply. Still waiting for the transparent color. People talking about messing up their pledges. Deliveries. Mostly just complaints about the pledge manager. Here's another complaint about the delivery rate being expensive. I guess batteries must have been included because there's more than one person mentioning it, but I'm pretty sure in the FAQ I thought they had said it wasn't going to come with them. Rate will be lower once everything is packaged together. Issue a partial refund at the time of shipping if the total ends up costing less than what was charged. That's kind of weird. I mean, to begin with, weren't we going to pick colors and all this stuff at the end of the campaign? And the shipping too? But okay, sure, let's keep going. Why does the beige option look kind of grayish now? Thinking the same thing. How do I order transparent without any images? Apparently, this took me some figuring out when I was first going through this a couple months back, but when they launched this page, the colors and the code to preview the images was not working properly. So they had to do like a tweak to this update. And there was some stuff about like mobile devices renders not displaying properly, but okay. All right, moving on. So that was May 9th. Next update is May 24th. Hey everyone, thanks for your patience. Fix the white screen and 404 errors, given like that pledge issue I was talking about before. Kickstarter is working on a feature that will allow you to change the colors directly within the pledge manager. Wow. More pledge manager stuff. People complaining about beta testing the platform. Complaints about it. I'm not going to finalize my pledge. Still waiting for a preview of the transparent version. Soul Circuit says, we're working on it. As soon as we have a preview of the transparent version, you'll see it. Totally understand not wanting to finalize without seeing all your options. Pledge Manager will stay open until these issues are sorted. Photos of the transparent option yet? How am I supposed to pick a color if I don't know my choices? Really curious about how the transparent shell. So everyone's talking about transparent. Let's keep going. June 4th. So roughly a week, maybe closer to 2. And hey, it's a transparent case. That sure does look snazzy. Looks so good, I'd say it's not even 3D printed, but maybe they got this really figured out. Updates to share, new layout. It's going to bring it in design and more in line with the design of the Pilet 7's keyboard. So once again, we have another revision of that keyboard. You can see kind of the original here and this one there. Okay. Function keys, symbol keys, dedicated. So this is less of a re-mini, which is like the other keyboard, and more something custom. All right, that's pretty cool. It's pretty much the same as the Pilot 7 keyboard, just in a more compact form. Stuck to the same principle, trying to reduce second layer usage as much as possible to speed up typing. I guess that's about removing these modifier keys, the function keys that cause you to only be able to type certain keyboards. Certain like letters need a modifier key, so that's a little annoying to type. More stuff about the Kickstarter backend. We are no longer going the route of resetting pledges. Waiting for Kickstarter's Shopify store integration, which will let you make changes and add-ons directly once it is live. That integration is coming in the coming weeks. So Kickstarter launched a feature, and then it was a disaster, and now they're doing a different feature. Thanks for riding the wave with us. We're building something special. All right. June 22nd. So updates are still very, very much good, right? Hi, everyone. In this update, we're sharing a behind-the-scenes look at Pilet's display manufacturing challenges we've been running through. Oh no! I thought that this wasn't going to be a problem. Well, okay, but let's be fair. What could possibly be going on? There are no ready-made third-party displays out there that satisfy all the requirements of the project. To fit the screen inside Pilet, we need a very thin touch display with a thin bezel, compatible with the Raspberry Pi DSi interface, and with good resolution, brightness, and viewing angles. Oh no. Well, that's not good because, you know, when we first launched this project, we were being told that we had a pretty good IPS screen with good resolution and brightness and viewing angles. Literally, verbatim was mentioned. But, you know, I understand making 2 displays from scratch with custom driver and firmware has proved to be a challenging endeavor. Certain issues we ran across. They had an image retention bug. This is a bunch of stuff about chip on glass. Issues with brightness, things not being bright enough. And then, of course, the firmware. We're not just assembling off-the-shelf parts, we're engineering a display system from the ground up to meet the unique design demands of Pilet. Both the IPS panel manufacturing and firmware driver development is still ongoing. Doing our best to meet the original shipping date of July, but delays are to be expected as it's a monumental task. All right. Launched in January. July is the expected launch, but we're doing something a little bit extra. It's going to be truly open source, so maybe it's not that bad. Since comments go the other way, we can kind of see that some people are like talking about not getting an update promptly. We'll get there. People talking about how awesome the behind the scenes stuff is. July is still the goal, but may shift slightly. That's what Soul Circuit's saying. There's mention of this mainline process that needs to happen in order for Linux to get the real broad support for this new screen, because if you're making a driver from scratch, you need to make sure that the driver is included in modern distributions. That's a lot of work. But they plan to do that. People are very, very okay with this update. Let's see what happens next time. So this was June 22nd. July's a month away. But let's see where it goes. August. So no update for the rest of June. No update for the entirety of July. August. That's not good. But, you know, sometimes setbacks take time. So, what's the August 2nd update say? Hi, backers. Apologies for the delay. The month has been busy. Been waiting on several of our partners and manufacturers to provide updates and critical information. Well, I thought that you guys already had like most of that stuff hashed out when you were talking about the beginning, but let's be nice. We're hoping to have everything by last week. Unfortunately, progress has been slower than expected, and we haven't heard back from everyone yet. Put a lot of effort into avoiding delays, but as with many hardware projects, real-world challenges have come up. Just a reminder, we talked about this in the risks and challenges section of the campaign. That's why it was there from the beginning. This little bullet is the thing that will get loaded into a gun by many defenders. This little nugget about the risks and challenges. We'll be sharing a more detailed update soon about the progress. So, in total, what does this update really mean? Because it's technically 2 months, and it doesn't really have any real information other than we've got problems. Doesn't say what parts are having problems with manufacturing. Doesn't say anything about like anything at all to kind of assuage worriers. Up until this point, it's been pretty good, but there's been some weird things popping up. And I'll be honest, a lot of those updates, looking back, are just kind of stuff about Kickstarter Pledge Manager, not really the project. No change to be expected. Ship July. Charge for shipping? No updates? What's up? 7 months ago, still waiting for the next update. You just updated us that there's no update. In the meantime, the Hackberry guy just shipped unit after unit that's smaller with better performance and a custom display just for his project. Now, there's always going to be cyberdecks and there's always going to be people shipping stuff out. But I do agree that the update says there's no update. They're only a month late so far. A lot of hardware projects go over time. The Spectrum was about 9 months over. And if they don't have much to say due to their suppliers being slow, then they don't have anything to say. Okay. So already people are saying, did we get scammed? There's no replies in the comments anymore. Literally, Soul Circuit is not active in the comments whatsoever. Here we can see a familiar face, Derek Morrison, who has made it his goal to tell people that they should be requesting a refund. We'll see how that goes. A lot of people saying, thanks for the update. Delays aren't an issue. Some people saying, I don't know. But okay. Sentiment seems to be that maybe July was too optimistic. They didn't have stuff hashed out. It is their first project after all. August 2nd to September 7th. So, a little bit over a month. A major milestone reached. Here's where things stand. The custom displays. After months of engineering, testing, and iteration, both the 5 and 7-inch displays are now finalized and the firmware is done. This is huge. The displays are done. The battery module is finished and fully ready for integration. The keyboard and case brought in line with the Pilet 7 for consistency, and the transparent case option has been finalized for manufacturing. Modules. NVMe and other accessory modules are through design and moving through testing for production. Huh. Now, I don't want to say that this sounds like a complete contradiction, but to me, it seems like they were saying design and testing simultaneously. So maybe the design wasn't done, and now the design is done, and now testing can happen. Maybe those need to happen simultaneously. It's only been a few months. Active coordination with our manufacturing partners to begin scaling production. This stage takes time. Originally hoped to ship this summer, but with the added time, delivery is going to take longer. We can't commit to a firm date, but we're hoping that it's going to be as soon as possible. We know waiting is tough. We appreciate your patience. Due to the high volume of messages, comments, and emails, we're unable to answer each one individually. We sincerely apologize for this inconvenience, and we'll continue to use updates like this to keep everyone informed. Uh-oh. So last time there wasn't any comments in the thread, and now they're saying they won't respond to anything. Let's go backwards since it's chronological. People talking about how there's a lot more items than before, so maybe that's causing the difficulty. Some people saying I'm happy when it's done. Just a little bit afraid of the part with the individual drivers. What happens if you do not want to update them anymore? So, Fraggle here is saying that if this update gets introduced to mainline Linux and no one maintains it, then what are we to do? Thanks for the update and the diligent work. Thanks for the update, guys. Problems happen. By the time this thing ships, it'll be obsolete. These delays put you and your product in the recycling bin. Well, I think that's a little mean, but I understand being frustrated by the delay. And here's Derek Morrison. Travis, I did the search you talked about. Unless I'm missing something, I did not find that products that have surpassed this build already. Can you share a link to one? I'm curious if it is available on Etsy or eBay. Travis points out the U console. There's also carboncomputers.us. So to get nerdy for a second, even though we are talking about something a little nerdy, cyberdecks come out all the time. So Derek here trying to pretend that somehow those don't exist, or there's no competitors, or in this timeline something better hasn't come out. That's kind of a LARP. Now, what I will say is that this thing was supposed to be off the shelf, ready and plug and go. And a lot of cyberdecks aren't that way. They require a lot of configuration, at the very least flashing. So, all right. I can see how it would work both ways. But nobody's really freaking out, it looks like. Looks like questions. Ellie here is asking for some evidence that could prove that this is real. Share some more about that side of things regarding like the technical, because a lot of these updates aren't actually giving information. But so far, seems like people are happy. They're not pleased as punch, but October 1st. So, it's monthly updates now. We're on update 16 of 20, by the way. And we're at October. Initial date was supposed to be July. Okay. Well, so here's some footage of a screen that we have. All right, that's pretty cool. 5 and 7-inch displays are finalized. The firmware is complete. The display driver has working code, running extended testing, fine-tune hardware and firmware before scaling up. So if I understand this properly, this means that the screens aren't manufacturing yet. We're actively speaking with several manufacturers, including these, all well known for producing Raspberry Pi related displays. Our device is to partner with a team that not only offers top quality, but also has production capacity without being completely backed up. I thought you guys already had manufacturers figured out. I mean, I know you changed the displays, but surely you know some of these guys already. I mean, wouldn't it have made sense to actually have figured that out first before you decide to pursue a product like designing a PCB and even making firmware? But okay. The core challenges are behind us. We're focusing on preparing for manufacturing at scale. As always, custom hardware brings hurdles, but we're tackling them step by step. We'll share firmer details on timelines as soon as they're available. Thank you for your patience. And again, due to the high volume of messages, we can't answer one individually. So now Travis, who was active in previous comments, is now flipped. He is saying that this is a total scam. Take a photo of these images in the update. These images scream deceptions masked in perceptions. Ask yourself this: when is the last time Kali Linux had that old background image in the release? That image is from 2021 to 2022. PCB boards are nothing but simple breadboards, and to the untrained eye, falsely indicate prototyping of custom manufactured boards. Nothing in these grainy photos or videos gives any true indication of a finished integrated prototype. Nothing but empty words, just tailored well enough to retain crowdfunding. And here's our pal, Derek Morrison! Boo-hoo. Wow, that seems like a mature, eloquent response. I think that Travis's point about the backgrounds, I was building a cyber deck at this time, and I remember having this background image. So I kind of don't think that that's a smoking guns. You attack others for asking questions because it threatens your own selfish belief that you made a smart decision. There's no logic in that, just defending your little ego. The exif data, as well as the outdated operating system and the fake manufacturer hype, are verifiable facts, not just made up as you say. Boohoo doesn't erase the facts. It just proves you'd rather insult people than face them. Truth hurts, doesn't it, Derek? Derek's enemy number one in this board. I have a few back projects, so I went through all the updates to remind myself what the issue is here. It all seems to revolve around the decision to go for an open source display module. Very astute, David. Funny interaction back in April, 7 months ago. Mike 11. I love open source. I think it's not only a gift to the tech hobbyist community, but also inspires innovation. That being said, I think we need to be realistic about timelines, especially because there's always hidden problems waiting for you, like landmines. This backer then shares how an LLM says that if they go open source route, best case is 4 months, likely case is 8 months, worst case 1 year. The creator's response: we've been working hard on this display for the past 5 months and are now in the final stages of development. A generic LLM has no way of predicting these timelines without access to specific details and current projects of the project. So they were overconfident in their ability to produce an open source display, always felt like they were on the cusp of solving it, but landmines continued to pop up until it derailed their timelines, leading us to now. Seems like the LLM did have a way of predicting timelines, despite having no access to specific information. The damage is done. It's too late to go back now. If they have really solved the display module problem, which seems to be the worst of it, we have another 4 months before this thing is ready. Refund, please. Any news about the project? Tell me how to refund. Tempted to ask for a refund. A bunch of people saying, hey, this thing looked like it was going well and that you guys had everything figured out, and now, I don't know. Here's Derek. Didn't realize printing a case, ordering some PCBs and basic parts, working prototype ready to ship, retail product in just a few months. The more you know, I guess. I don't know, Derek. Seems to me like they were demoing a product that actually worked, but what do I know? I mean, you can just run Roller Coaster Tycoon on some test PCBs and basic parts, even though they said they had the display figured out and now that's shifted. Classic Derek. Once again, the amount of people acting like this is a nothing burger is absolutely insane. I hope they cancel and give everyone refunds that ask so I can get my order sooner. Then I hope you crawl back and want to buy, but now at a higher price because you were impatient. Isn't Derek such a swell guy? Doesn't he just like make you really, really want to go out and hug a stranger? All right. So things look heated. They don't look good. But let's keep going. Let's see where it goes. I mean, we're only in October. November 7th. So one more month. Updates used to be every 2 weeks, maybe even once a week. Open sourcing Pilet and audio progress. We want to keep you informed on where things stand. As promised, we've begun gradually releasing open source components for Pilet. The first is now live. The NVMe module is now available on our public GitHub. This is the start of the open source rollout. We'll continue publishing 3D files, schematics, and documentation. So let's take a look at this GitHub. Oh. This doesn't look good. Looks like we have a bunch of files for the NVMe module. Last updated 5 months ago. Okay. Well, are they active? Not good. Not good at all. Last activity on this heartbeat chart, all the way back in November. I guess it's more of a heat map. Well, okay. I mean, that means that only the NVMe module is finalized, right? I mean, there's no 3D files. There's no schematics and documentation for anything else. So, does that mean it's just the NVMe module? Uh-oh. With the display and its firmware driver complete, we've turned our focus to the audio. Gone through several iterations of the audio module, each version improved, but the current performance is still not where we want it to be. Audio quality leaves much to be desired. Could be because of poor speaker enclosure design or an inherent problem with the PCB design. Continuing to refine and adjust until the results meet our expectations. Audio quality is an important part of the Pilet experience. We want to get it right. Oh. The audio isn't quality enough. I mean, I know that they demoed a music production on this thing, but something tells me that people buying this aren't going to... Well, who cares? LTE plus audio integration. We're working on the LTE module. We've finished the code and now have able to both have LTE connectivity and make phone calls. However, integrating LTE with the audio module has proven to be very tricky due to hardware limitations of the Raspberry Pi. Audio quality is another bug to fix on LTE. That seems like the LTE module is not done. But I thought that we were kind of done with this. But it's okay. We're still in active discussions with manufacturers. Files are being reviewed and we are working to finalize production details. Once the audio and LTE challenges are fully resolved, we'll move forward. I see. So, when you said things were being manufactured before, that couldn't have been the case because the audio and the LTE weren't finished. But once we finish those, you're going to be good, right? Progress continues. Some areas require more engineering time than expected, but we are moving forward steadily. Due to the volume of messages, comments, and emails, we're unable to respond to everyone individually. Well, that's not good. So now we have a couple people talking about how it's sketchy and that they want a refund. Cannot believe that for the third time in a row, I picked a Kickstarter that's a scam. Very likely anyway. Either a scam or a project done by a team that simply doesn't have a clue how to pull it off. Still in talks with manufacturers. Are you having a fucking laugh? Is people's hard-earned cash a joke to you? How long have you been saying this? For the love of Christ, get the bloody plans to the manufacturers. Get the quotes and pick one using the CA 1.2 mil we gave you to complete the damn thing. I am sick to God of you people. I really am. Either put up or shut up and refund us all. Of course, that won't happen, will it? That's what a decent group of humans would do. You'd cut your losses, realize you don't have the ability to complete the project, and divvy the remaining cash to the subscribers so we at least get something back. Show some humility. Well, I think Chris is a little bit upset. Another thing, why are you releasing the open source to the public before paying customers? So I'm gonna go against Chris here. I really don't give a shit that they released just the LTE or the NVMe module to the public before the customers got it. I understand that that does go against what they were saying, but you know. I am looking at the component section of the GitHub. There are some STP files. It's definitely a lot of files. Angry about Kickstarter quality check. No real prototype but announced. This shows that nobody is really controlling the rules. You're going to see people mentioning updates for December. We're going to get to that. This is a scam. I want my refund. Refund me now. Refund you! I see. So Retech is trying backwards psychology. If he thinks that he asks for them to refund themselves, that will result in refunding him because maybe the authors are confused. I understand. It's good logic. It's nice to hear from you guys, but I guess I'll have to come up with something else for my children in Christmas. That's a really sad. That's a really sad update. I really like your project. It's open source. Keep up the good work, guys. Is it open source? Where's the source? I feel like by the time this is released, we'll already have the Raspberry Pi 6. Artem says that is okay. Curious. Raspberry Pi 6. On the horizon as of 2024. Compute module 5. Does it actually say when this thing came out? Not currently. No mention of the Raspberry Pi 6. So, I guess not. I believe in you guys. Favorite book of mine is Jerry Kaplan's Startup. Felt that there needs to be an updated version for the 21st century. Once the machine is done, perhaps write up and share the entire experience thus? Let's see. Gray says, I thought the audio module was finished and off to manufacturing. JTD says, this is not the kind of update someone who thought they were going to scam a bunch of people would put out. Just want to underscore that. Would love a deeper dive into the challenges you saw developing the audio solution. You mean an update where they show pretty much nothing and say they're tweaking a component, the audio that they said was already finished and being produced? It very much is a bullshit post. They don't show anything. It's clear they either bit off way more than they could chew, or just fake the whole thing and need to show progress, so when they get sued, they can blame stupidity instead of malice. Dennis Field says, share what you can on the GitHub about your audio quality struggles. Love to help or learn one way or the other. David says, they don't have anything to share because nothing exists. Seems like David's kind of going ham in the comments. Here's our buddy Derek. Sorry, should have said, thank you for the update. It is appreciated. Excited to see what the final product ends up being like. Your hard work will pay off. Just keep thinking of the end product and how excited people will be once they have one. Dana D, we need more people like you. All great things take time. Thanks, Derek. Derek says, another update that people are going to complain about. Fun! Chris Stark, our, I guess, European ranter from before, has posted a wall of text. People are complaining because they are long overdue already. Shipment date of a product that was in their Kickstarter promo video working with a prototype. That's what was sold to us. What we weren't told was that the product wasn't built at all. Multi-month fiasco about picking colors. Color combo, again, took months. Issues with email verification instead, or issues with using the Kickstarter format instead of email verification. Of course, update 18 will be the LTE rebuild of the code to get it working as good as we want because it's currently not good enough. Update 19 will be challenges with manufacturing and iron out prototypes versus real world molds. Update 20 will be the usual logistics post. I sure do wish that was the content of those updates, Chris. That would seem like forward progress. Update 21 will be, we burned through all the money and have achieved nothing, saws, I guess. Yet another NPC with daddy's money to gamble on Kickstarter. Well, I think that's a bit bullying, but onward we go. So, this was Update 17 on November 7th and December 19th, Update 18. Showcasing the keyboard. Oh. Well, that's not good. That's almost 2 months. It's like a month and a half. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. As the year comes to a close, we want to take a moment to thank you all. We want to show you progress on the keyboards. We want to show you the keyboard switches. Here's the keyboard working. Here's it gaming. And here's the trackball. And here's the backlight. Talking about support for firmware for the keyboard. Special thanks to Alessandro for his tireless work on both the hardware and firmware of these keyboards. That's interesting. That's a third name we've never heard before. Due to the volume of messages, comments, and emails, unable to respond. By the way, we are still not getting comments in any of these from the original creators. And no one who's asking for a refund has stated they got one. Hi, Soul Circuit. I'm a backer. We've passed the delivery date. Can you give me an ETA? There's David, our favorite A-log, going, it's not going to ship. We lost all our money. At this point, I think David and Derek are both kind of heavily active, but I get being upset. I mean, it was $300. Been another month. Aren't we due for another update? Check the email. Back project before reading comments last week. Would like a refund. Very sorry. So, guy backed the project after it was finished. There's Derek. Thanks for the update. Looks like it's going to turn out to be a really awesome product. Jeremy says, thanks for the update. In your next update, do you think you could give us a list of what is still required to finish the project? Oh, Jeremy. Christian Danny. Excellent update and lovely to see the proper care you take in making sure each part of the experience is as good as it can be. Please don't feel too disheartened by the usual comments from backers who haven't realized that Kickstarter is not a pre-order. Take your time. Braggle says, it's not about pre-order or not, but if you take shipping costs already, although you're at least a year away from shipping, critics are correct. Joseph Creefels 2 says, investors have a human right to ask for updates. I think that's right on the level. Kickstarter backers are no different than investors. Just have less control. David says, 5 months late and you're just now finishing the keyboard? Well, David, I feel like they did say they finished many things before. A name I cannot say says, choosing Vile compatible firmware for your keyboard was an excellent decision. All keyboards in the world should make Vile compatibility standard. Eagerly awaiting the day it is delivered. I'm with him. Vile's cool. It's just kind of a shame that we're getting it now in October. Thank you for the update, and same as few more of the seasoned Kickstarter followers, we assumed that a heavy project like this would go to 6 months or over, so with the chip issue worldwide, it's currently even less of a shock. People trusting and waiting would prefer a note saying not much to report at the moment than you waiting to give a big announcement. Nothing in silence worries people. Thank you for the update. I've seen this name come up a bunch, Skelliana. So let's see if they show up in the latest updates. Maybe in the minority, but I would rather have a resulting device that is well done rather than complete broken. Nope, I paid $600. I want a brick of shit. Fair enough, Quasar. All right, update 19. Only one more to go. February 10th. 2 whole months. FAQ and structural simulations. This one's fun. In previous updates, we mentioned that due to the sheer volume of messages, comments, and emails, we won't be able to respond. We've taken the time to review some of the recurring questions and concerns and want to address them clearly here. The delay is primarily due to a number of technical bugs that we are working through. As development progressed, we identified issues that require deeper testing. Both devices are compact handhelds. At this scale, even minor layout, thermal, or signal issues can affect overall performance. That's interesting. So, again, no details about what these bugs are, no details at all. Just, it's a bunch of minor stuff. Yes, very much alive. The project is full-time focus, working on it daily. When will the product be, or will the product be delivered? Absolutely. Why was shipping collected early? Due to how Kickstarter's post-campaign beta survey system works, add-on selections must be collected at the same time as shipping information. Kickstarter does not support running these surveys separately. Based on guidance from a Kickstarter support agent, we collected shipping alongside the survey for the keyboard and color choices to ensure all required information will be gathered correctly. Now, here's my 2 cents. Definitely don't collect shipping information like more than a few months out from your final product shipping, because people are going to have their addresses update. So all this stuff about shoring this stuff out, this was not the way to do this. And this was one of the first early signs that something was wrong. This whole survey system, questionnaire, we don't even have parts yet. We put the cart way in front of the horse. But here's my favorite part. This to me, oh, this made my heart swell. Simulation tests. We wanted to share some of the structural simulations testing and engineering validation currently underway. To further validate the mechanical integrity of both Pilet variants, we've been conducting various FEA simulations on the enclosure and key structural components. These analyses allow us to predict the stress distribution, deformation, and potential failure points under controlled loading conditions before finalizing production hardware. We perform drop tests to evaluate displacement and strain under simulated drop velocities. Please note that these simulations are computationally intensive and must be performed on carefully simplified models. Many non-essential features of the body were removed from the tests. Otherwise, computation time could exceed 100 hours. I want to remind you, components aren't done. We're doing stress tests on simulated drops of a potentially 3D printed case. This thing is not needed. I don't even think that this is done simplified. Like, what if the design is changed? We're gonna have to do that again. Stress concentrations around thin sections, fastener bosses, pressure areas. A lot of stuff going into a heat map of a 3D printed case. Lol, should have listened to my gut when it felt too good to be true, says Doc. David, anyone want to pay me $1 million to edit a few photos every month and say I'm working on it without any actual work being done? John says we need regular updates, a minimum every other week, even if you have nothing new to share. This is starting to look like a dead project. Nicholas Lau says, I want a refund. Yeah, you, me, and a bunch of other people. They don't reply. Brandon, 11 days ago. Updates for us. We'll get there, Brandon. That was a nice update 1.5 months ago. I wonder if they made any progress on the STL file since then. What a joke. 6 weeks with no update. You took people's money, including shipping. At an absolute minimum, you owe us updates on a regular interval. Hardware is hard. Funny how that works. Thanks for the update. Over 30 days later, time for a 5-minute write-up. Thank you for the updates and the assurance. Still cannot switch the wrong selection of Pilet 7 into Pilet 5. People are still having problems with Kickstarter backer pledge selection. Well, don't worry. They will not respond to your emails or your comments, so you're in good hands. Great update. Having had to design projects and pass mil-spec 810 testing, I'm happy to see the drop test simulations. I know that many people who have never done product design are impatient, but I am enjoying seeing your progress through these challenges. Well, I would agree, Red, except we don't know what the challenges are exactly, and we don't know how they've been beaten, and we don't really know anything about anything at all. I would rather have a product that can withstand a drop myself. I plan to take this thing places after all. I consider it part of the Kickstarter experience. Looking forward to the next update and the eventual delivery. Cheers. Well, negativity can't make the world go around. Fraggle says, can you explain why a drop test with an empty case is great? Without any internal equipment, you will receive only worthless information. The structure will have different properties. Fraggle also says, after reading some more comments, I need to add, how seriously can a drop test be? If nothing was said about solving the heat issue in the prototype or the audio problems. So why no statements about success of past issues? Joseph Crafel says, it's not a smartphone. It's literally a shell for a Raspberry Pi. Drop test is not very important here. Fickles the Clown says, crazy to see the extremists in this post. Some going to say this is a scam and mad about everything. The other extremists saying you should never back a Kickstarter if you don't mind being a year past the date. I'm more logically and somewhere in between. I think there should be more regular updates and progress, but delays are also expected. I've backed about 35 projects, and the only ones that ran this late were movies production. All electronics were finished sooner than this. That being said, it's understandable to a point, so I'm not so extreme to call it a scam. Both extremist views are comical, disingenuous, and out of touch if you ask me. Fraggle says, was a victim of the Z-Snaps project here. Z-Naps. It's still online, so you can find it. They also gave updates. This is no hint, but this drop test is a joke. First, the project started with a promise. They have a prototype, need to go to production. This is not the case. Now we see they just started. A drop test on an empty case? Seriously? What kind of findings do you want to see? How does it behave when falling down before you add screen, Pi, and SSD? Third, such a drop test should be performed already when having a prototype. David says, 8 months late, almost a year. What side will you be on in 12 months? Hey look, it's a name I recognize. Totally. Wanting anything other than do better is insane, and being a personal army is such an interesting personality trait for a user online to develop. Diego Lino says, the Flipper Zero, that now everyone praises, collected my payment on 2020. Expected date was 2021. It was shipped 2022. So I disagree 100% that the only ones running late are movie productions. Every Kickstarter I backed was electronics, and they were all late. Larry says, I'm with Fickles, somewhere in the middle. And I get where Diego is coming from about the Flipper. My concern is this. When Flipper Zero came out, there was still nothing really like it on the market. When Pilet launched a Kickstarter, it too was relatively unique. But now, almost a year later, there are many products available that, while not packing the full feature set, are so functionally similar that most users will be fine with them, and at a significantly lower price. Did the Pilet team miss the market window? Will this be the only batch of products because cheaper Chinese knockoffs are flooding the market? Instead of the start of something, I fear this will be a one-off batch and the devs will move on. Cryptnip says, thank you, James and Chris. The rest of the Soul Circuit team, you're doing a fantastic job. The attention to detail that y'all are putting into this is outstanding. Don't listen to the hate. According to their own words, the team consists of 1 or 5 people. There is no rest. And what described as hate is the critic on strange things, like drop test, no status quo reports, or previous issues they've mentioned. Oh. Do we have Derek? 2 months ago. Thank you for the update. Excited to see how everything turns out. To everyone complaining, you shouldn't have backed a project on Kickstarter, and you should never back another one. Fraggle says, it's the baker's fault. No way. Initially, they promised an available prototype. Now you see they built it from scratch. There was no prototype. Quasar says, I shouldn't take such Dorcas crack shots on Fraggle anymore, but they seem like the only person able to cast cant rips of letters oozing down the monitor with their consistently mixed up spelling errors. Well, I mean, what's his grammar got to do with anything? Just 2 things. You said, shipping fee. Due to how Kickstarter's post-campaign beta survey system works, add-on selections will be collected at the same time as shipping information. If I'm not wrong, I did not send any shipping information, just paid. Shipping information for me contains an address. Second, the simulation, seriously, without internals which are more sensitive for a crash, next update will contain a waterproof for the case? And Eric says, your address is saved when you pledge with the pledge manager. Please note that these simulations are computationally intensive, blah, 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 blah. I personally don't want a prototype, so I am thankful for the test. I also would think they want a product they can bring to market to sell after the Kickstarter is fulfilled. So, drop test is pretty brutal. One more. Derek Thompson says, the FEA is massive overkill for this type of product. It makes me think you're giving money to a couple of guys who are paying at bringing a product to market rather than actually doing so. They're not serious about it, and they're just playing around with the money. I've written this off as bad debt at this point. Derek says, good for you. Now you can move on. I personally want a final product and not a prototype like many of the people here are advocating for. Are they supposed to not want to continue to sell the pilot product after the Kickstarter? Think about it. Oh, Derek, you're so smart. Provided we're not being sold a bridge here, at least we're getting our money's worth. When I pledged, I was cool with getting whatever. The same device Chris showed off on YouTube and Reddit prior to launching this campaign. I just wanted a cyberdeck. There we have a mention of Chris being on Reddit. Derek, you have the exactly wrong takeaway here. If this unit were for show to sit on a shelf, then no drop testing would be needed. The intent, however, is to take it places and use it. They could have just 3D printed some cases and been done with it. I know from experience that this kind of approach would likely lead to it becoming unusable after any kind of small drop. I've done vibration and drop testing, mil-spec 810, on units meant for mounting in Humvees, and just the normal amount of vibration for driving can cause the edge screws on SBCs to snap mounts easily. I want something that won't break when I take it out and use it. I think that most of us do. The testing to make sure I can do that and have it endure reasonable wear and tear is worth it to me. I feel like I haven't given my opinion on this update. This update was hilarious to me. Do I think that simulations are important? Yes. Do I think that drop testing is important? Yes. Do I think that these things are like issues that definitely can be addressed or that one should address? Absolutely. However, the problem that we're having right now is that this is happening simultaneously to a bunch of other things like getting the device to work and being manufacturable. We cannot possibly have considerations for how the testing of the case is going to be handled when nothing is really finalized at all. Every single time they say something is finalized, it comes back like a weird blister that never really goes away. It's not good. This might have been fine if they had said that they had resolved something else or released something else on GitHub or had any sort of real project. The problem with their updates at this point is that they're late and they're very TikTok. It's problem or solution, never both. And they never really have any sort of like attention to detail that would be necessary to assuage concerns. You're having trouble with manufacturers. Okay, what's the trouble with the manufacturers? You're trying to figure out how development should go. Okay, what exactly is the concern? They're always willing to share information as an update that's vague and like ephemeral, but they never actually go in depth about it. But that was February 10th. That was 19. One more to go. Update 20. Moving to compute module 5. Excuse me? So this happened April 11th. So February 10th, April 11th. Not as bad. 1 month. We'd like to share an important upgrade to the Pilet architecture. Over the past year, we've been developing a version of the Pilet based on the Compute Module 5, in parallel with a Raspberry Pi 5 design. What? After extensive testing and iteration, we've decided to move forward with this approach. Okay. Damn, I guess we make in circles now. This change allows us to integrate all major components, including display, audio, NVMe, and battery, onto a single main board. The result is much cleaner internal design with fewer cables and connectors, leading to improved reliability, easier and more consistent assembly, better long-term durability. So the start of this reads as if they've been doing two things at once, and then the language kind of becomes, this is the way forward. This is the future. We believe this is a significant step forward and will result in more robust and refined final product for all backers. All backers. This doesn't read like a thing you're going to have to choose between. This reads like something you're going to be forced to do. We explored multiple solutions, including PCB redesigns and connector optimizations, but ultimately determined that the Pi 5 is not ideal for this level of compact production-ready integration. What? So, all these problems that existed before with the previous design that were solved, well, we were just working on the NVMe and LTE. Well, now we should probably change. Hey, didn't you guys actually ship NVMe code? So you shipped NVMe code for a product that is now getting fundamentally redesigned with no new code. Well, that's kind of shit, but okay. New mainboard has now been completed and testing is currently underway. The results are very promising. You know, I bet the results are very promising. I sure would love to see them. I would love more information than this. Pictures of a board populated with chips. I'd like way more information. Got a photo here of what appears to be a power bench monitoring a sine waveform. I see square. You know, I don't really know anything about waveforms, but yeah, you sure are probing it. Yup, that's good. To me, that is good. And there's another power supply, a bench right behind you. 5 volts, 1 amps. Well, hold on a second. Isn't that different than the power? Well, it's a complete redesign, so naturally it's going to be a little difficult. And there's it displaying to a monitor. Well, I mean, that's cool and all, but what happened to the monitor that we were designing? Why aren't we using that in the photo? I'd rather we use that, right? Oh, and here's an image of another Fluke. Wow, really high-end Fluke tool here. Good multimeter. 5.24 volts. Wow. Well, that's good. It's good. Hey, would you like to know how hot this thing is? Here's how hot it is. Great. Hang on a second. Is the compute board even installed in that? Is it on the back? Yeah, what's actually supposed to be producing heat in this image? Well, I'm not really a Photoshop expert. It's someone else's job. Thank you for your continued support, and please stay tuned for more updates. Well, I'm sure that the comments on this one are going to be extremely positive. Specifically bought a Raspberry Pi 5 for this project. This is not the project I backed anymore. Would like a refund. Asking for a refund. Back this project because I already own a Raspberry Pi 16, a Raspberry Pi 16 gigabyte because it was something fun to play with. Now I have to buy a new CM5 for the current absurd prices or wait a long time. So a little bit of background about this. We loaded up the Raspberry Pi site a little bit earlier to look and see if the Raspberry Pi 6 existed, and we certainly did not see it. But what we did see, besides all these freaking tabs, was the Compute Module 5. So you can see that it starts at $67 with, I guess, 0 gigs of storage. Yeah, I'm not going to invest too much time, but you can see that it's definitely a different piece of tech. So if you bought something before, you're going to have to buy something different now. I too have been patient and generally understanding about the delays, but this one broke my trust. Like many of you, I popped for a 16 gigabyte Pi 5 specifically for this project, as well as the keyboard and battery add-ons. For what it's worth, I've reported this campaign to Kickstarter, and I too request a refund. Everyone needs to report this project. If we don't, it'll likely never get a refund. I'm not one of those people who have been complaining about every little delay. I get that this is a big project and it takes time, but I dug up my login for Kickstarter just to respond to this because I think this is an absolute step too far. Just release the Pi 5 version that has always been the plan. Also offer a CM5 version for people who want it if they want to go that route. I get that having multiple versions complicates things, but I, as many as others, specifically bought a Pi 5 16 gigabytes for this, and the CM5s, particularly the 16 gigabyte model, are virtually extinct online because of the current state of the world. I don't think there's too much of a chance of me dropping like $200 on a CM5 16 gigabyte. Let's see something here. Raspberry Pi, Rasbora Live Fish with $5. Raspberry Pi CM5, 4 gigabytes, $92. What if I say 32? That's okay. That's eMMC. Okay, even though it's 16 GB. Okay. 4 gigs of RAM, $100, $200. It's definitely another product to buy. All right. Genuinely, I do get why the CM5 would be a great fit here. It really seems like the perfect application. And if you had promoted it that way from the start, that would be totally fine. But that is not the case. I really, really, really want the Pilet. It's like my ideal mobile device. And I want to support this project. But if you don't roll this back, I'm going to have to request a refund. The CM6 or CM7 or CM8 would be better fits of you to keep that BS attitude. BS attitude. Is this an Iron Pi industrial computer? I would not get sucked into this. Okay. Don't know what David's going on about. You've been working on something else for the past year and not moving this project forward. Not cool. Not going to ask for a refund, as I do want to see if you actually deliver something, but I'm doubting that. Get it done and delivered before the end of the year. You also appear to be taking late pledges for something you're not working on. Boy, are those people going to be surprised. Walnut bun. I'll be honest. I was under the impression that it was always the plan to use the CM5, and that the usage of the term Raspberry Pi 5 was because people were less likely to know what a Raspberry Pi compute module was. I'm not sure how you were expecting to integrate a full Pi 5 into this thing. That said, I do think it's a mistake to make this decision unilaterally. If there is a way to offer a version that's compatible with the Model B form factor, I think that would be the way to go. David says, no, you weren't. Literally says Raspberry Pi 5 all over the documentation. Are you friends with Chris and James? LMFAO. Also, the images show the RP5. Werebear Pig. The reason I wanted this was to have a Raspberry Pi 5 in a handheld, not some compute module. I want a refund. I bought a Raspberry Pi 5 thinking that this project would go off. It's been sitting in a box way too long. What the heck did I spend my money on if that's what you've changed? This is bait and switch. The good news is I paid my pledge with an Amex. The TS and C say projects can't be changed, so I can initiate a chargeback, and if Kickstarter disputes it, I can point it to their own terms as to why the purchase has been invalidated. First, congrats to you two for successfully creating a pilot board for the Compute Module 5. Second, I don't care. I own a Pi 5. What I wanted to say, other people have said enough. If you don't give us a refund, I just go and do a chargeback instead. Matt Howard says, make sure you report this to Kickstarter. Liam says, Kickstarter has already given them the money. What will reporting it do? Cameron Thomas says, brah. Jaron DeGen said, this is such a joke. I've been patient as hell hoping that everything would work out, ignoring the naysayers. I splurged last year for a Raspberry Pi 5 16 gigabytes, and it's been sitting waiting for the project to be finished, and now you're telling me it was just more money wasted. That is some serious bad faith practice for a company starting out. You really going to do all these day one backers dirty like that? The CP5 16 gigabytes is $325. What are you thinking? I don't know where this quoted price comes from, but people keep saying 300, so I have to assume. I hope the creator can see that nobody wants this and backtracks this horrible decision. We aren't looking for some perfect sleek design. We want what you originally sold us. Oh, they won't. My bet is they haven't touched the RP5 version at all and went all in on this once they got the cash. Kickstarter lent. This is way better, smaller, more portable, less jank. A lot of time and effort to come up with a more robust solution. Was worried about delivery ultimately, but funded it because I wanted the portable tech with the Pi 5 power. Hope it all comes together. David says, idiot. Gene C, I am formally requesting a refund as this is not what was promised. Derek says, oh boy, that's quite the change. People are not going to be happy. Liam says, so after almost a year defending these guys and calling us all stupid and entitled, are you finally realizing that we gave them 7 figures to play in a sandbox? Two things can be right. Kickstarter isn't a store, and these guys are pricks. I'm a super backer. I know the risks of Kickstarter. That doesn't mean that Soul Circuit should be given a license to just dick around with our money. Derek says, the only thing I defended was that this isn't a scam, and it was dumb to call it that with the evidence that was presented. What they are doing now is definitely not something I agree with. Yeah? It is unfair to make such a change. I think people are going to be fine with it. Hopefully they do what is right and refund people. David says, haha, this guy, egg on his face. Quasar Dingo says, no, egg on yours, dick face. All Derek is arguing is that this is not a scam, which he is right, given at this point it's all semantics because whether it's a scam or not, nobody is happy with this update. I certainly don't like it either, and everyone who wants to back out should rightfully be able to do so. Good thinking there, guy. 0.5. I don't know what that last part means. Derek says, no egg on my face. In fact, I would say this update proved it isn't a scam and proved that you can get what you didn't pay for even when it isn't a scam. I'm with everyone on this being a shit update and not fair to everyone. We were misled as to what we were backing. I too wouldn't have backed this if this is all it was going to end up being. David says, at Derek, yes, egg sweetie, they aren't going to deliver a product. They're going to say it died in development, that they spent the money properly, so they can't be held responsible for failing. You will never hold this product. That was clear long ago with their vague updates that, guess what, turned out to be total lies because they've been spending their time on the CM5, so they say. Just admit you wanted to be a smug cunt online to troll the naysayers. You lost this one, bub. Take the hit like a man and join the naysayers. Besides, there are already a bunch of pre-made CM5 boards they could use. The reason they are building their own is because they are buying time. Wake up, bro. Not all Kickstarter failures are a scam, but this one is. Liam replies, Derek. In the October update, there are 3 pictures that seem to show a Raspberry Pi 5 connected to the screens for testing. It's hard to know what's honest about what's not in these updates, now that this latest update has thrown everything into doubt. This directly goes against their claims in this update. Oh, Derek. One day. 8 hours ago. Don Nguyen. Don't even bother sending mine. I'm the sucker here and I'll own that. I sent money to a bunch of people who have no idea how to lock a design in and ship a product. Congrats, you got me. Hope you had fun with my money these last few months. David, 6 hours ago. Dispute status, merchant contacted. Goldman Sachs Banks USA has contacted the merchant and requested additional information based on the details you provided. The merchant has up until May 28, 2026 to respond. Your case will be resolved no later than June 30th, 2026. Crossing fingers. Google, Soul Circuit redesigning its Pilet handhelds nearly a year overdue to accept the Raspberry Pi 5. It's a URL of some kind. Richard, can already order this similar item from Waveshare, even comes with a standard Pi 5 1GB. Taking time perfecting things comes at a cost, you get left behind. Google Pocket Term 35. Sure thing. $35. Ugh. Sure does look like a product that you can buy. $640 by $480. $90. Don't see any mention of LTE, but you know, the man is right. Guess I have this URL to search. Hackster.io, 11 hours ago. This is an article by G. Halfacree. Let's see if there's anything that's additional information. While crowdfunding platform Kickstarter requires that platform creators do not misrepresent the status of prototypes, makes it clear in terms and conditions that Kickstarter is not responsible for any failure delivered. Ball has been thoroughly dropped. Carlos Nunez. I've been very patient because I really want to have a Pocket Linux terminal. Pilet seemed to be a very well thought out device. In 48 hours, I see both the RPi 5 CM5 update and the following product announcement from Waveshare. Waveshare.com Pocket Term 35. This device includes your choice of a Pi 5 or 4, batteries included, under $200. I think the delays have killed the Pilet. Even if when it's released, it will be extremely overpriced for what it is. My pledge is just shy of $500 USD for the Pilet, keyboard attachment, SSD, and batteries. Now I have to spend another $200 to $300 for the CM5. So for $700 plus, for something I can now buy from a real company with a real track record of delivering real products for less than a third of the price. Yes, the Waveshare is a smaller screen, but the fact you can get something similar to the Pilet today for a fraction of the price does not bode well for the future of the campaign or the product. I've never requested a refund or reported a campaign, but this is about the last straw. Has anyone had success getting a refund? I'm sure the creators are nice people, says David. Nice people deliver on promises. 3 hours ago, Carlos Nunez again. Another observation. In the October update, there are 3 pictures that show a Raspberry Pi connected to the screen for testing. Hard to know what's honest and what's not, now that this latest update has thrown everything into doubt. I think that was quoted by another user in the comments. So, where does that leave us? It is currently April of 2026 for a product that was supposed to be released last year in July. And throughout these updates, I hope that it's quite obvious that things just keep shifting. I've held the opinion that this is definitely a rug pull of some kind, though I don't understand the machinations behind it or how it's exactly going to shake out. The start of the problems was the color update and deciding to utilize experimental tools that admittedly did not work and that people had issues with even this year still. Obviously this is Soul Circuit's first product, but for them to show a PCB, it shows you that they are supposed to know quite a bit more than the average bear. And a lot of this is definitely worrisome. Moving from one module to another with no update, no information, and saying that it's been developed the whole time as if it was like a feather in your cap, it's not good. I have questions about some of these photos, but I don't have the experience or the knowledge to really check some of them. It's just really, really bad overall. I think that this product is definitely a scam. I asked for my money back some time ago, and like everything else, no one's heard anything back. What I would be more interested in now at this point is an interview. I think that if James and Chris could get on an interview, or someone could see even hands-on footage of the device, if there was a way to tell that things were actually done moving forward from this, right? Let's say they've decided it's CM5 all the way. I think that this could be salvaged if they were legit. I think that they could genuinely go, all right, guys, you know, here's where things are. And they could actually show footage of the thing isolated, show things being plugged in, powered on, show a boot up sequence, show the process of flashing it, show that things are actually done, update that GitHub page. Do I think any of that's going to be done? Considering I, in previous comment sections, have mentioned, like, guys, you can be late and you can have no details, but you can't have both in your updates, and then nothing changed. I don't even know if they're reading the comments. But what do you think? Let me know. Definitely, I think if you've backed this and you've got like a sour taste, maybe it is time to contact banks and get something done. Because it's a lot of money. And there's definitely other products now that exist. So, not looking too good for them. Alright guys, I will see you next time. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you are still hopeful. Tell me if you're on Derek's side. Comment Team Derek if you're a Team Derek head. I like Derek because he pushes against the grain, and I think it's reasonable to, like, be the one guy who's saying that things are challenging and that this isn't like a Best Buy storefront. But I think that he's also a huge dick. All right, take it easy and don't be sleazy. Goodbye.